Welcome everybody. Antonio Garcia here with Matrix Success Network. I'm excited to get day 2 started. And we're just going to be holding off here for a couple more minutes, making sure that people jump onto the call. I'm excited. Brian is excited. The whole organization is. We're fired up. A few more minutes. Get your paper and pen ready with those questions, that energy. We'll be seeing you here in a second. Here we go, day 2 of the Masterclass Money Multiplier. Again, I'm Antonio Garcia. I'll be hosting the event with you guys. So happy and grateful that you guys are going to be joining us here today. Yesterday, I took a ton of notes. I don't know about you guys, but when I was writing, I felt like I had to blow on my pen a handful of times. There's so much fire, and just for your pleasure, and also for your convenience, is that I was able to put my notes into the Facebook page. And thank you guys so much for just listening and paying attention. That when you guys had any questions, you guys went to the guide, asked some questions revolving your account, what to do next. Matrix Concierge was there to help you out. And then also, I really love those that were posting into the discussion page. That is what builds communities. That's what tells people like you are not alone. We're all in this together. We're all trying to learn. We're all trying to develop. And I took so many great golden nuggets yesterday. One was the question of just why not you? Why not you? And yesterday when we touched on spirituality and consciousness, and today on day 2 we'll be on wealth mindset. Think of it this way: when you're trying to appreciate physical health, you have to understand diet and exercise. Those are the pillars of physical health. So now for today, with our fearless leader, Brian Dalmazzo, getting into wealth mindset, and yesterday touching into, spirituality and consciousness. Now today, we're going to be doing more of a deep dive to get you closer to your goals. And I'm so excited to be bringing on Brian Dalmazzo. Everybody get ready. Day 2 starts now.
Hey, brother, love the energy, love the excitement. I also noticed the same thing in the Facebook groups. People were coming in with questions, they were coming in with comments, and I love the interactivity because it really helps us to tailor these things for you guys. So please, 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 if you have questions over the 3 days, put them in the group. My team is going to gather those up. It's going to be a special thing on Friday called Experience the Matrix. We're going to do live Q&A. You can even have questions about your own business or anything. So let's get started. Today is day 2. It's wealth and business mindset. And you might be wondering like why we structured this like this. And again, this is the first time we've ever done this. Spirit and consciousness is the foundation to all this stuff. And we're not taught any of that stuff in school. So this is why people can like attempt to be a realtor and they keep falling on their face. They can go from job to job to job. I did that for some years too, right? From career to career, because we're not really grounded to what people call God or universal intelligence. So that's why we started with at least a concept of what spirit and consciousness is. Well, today is wealth and business mindset. Literally, we're going to show you how the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate. And again, you're going to be able to have some actual takeaways. This isn't just like surface level. You should be able to take things from here and implement them on your own. Or if this resonates, you can choose to implement them with us, and we can help you really put some gasoline on the fire. All right, so let's go. Let's get into this, guys. Today is on wealth and business mindset. And who is ready? Put some fire in the chats if you are ready. I want to see if you guys are awake, see what you guys are doing. Who's ready to learn how the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate? Imagine if you had a glimpse of how Elon Musk processed information. That's really what you're going to have today. And it's not just me, guys. I want to be very, very clear. We have about 15 people on our team. I'm just the person that you see a lot. We have an entire team. A lot of you have met them if you're clients of ours. And I don't do this by myself. My team and I teach people how to think, act, and operate like the world's wealthiest 1%, like was taught to me. So I can't take credit for this alone. Matter of fact, there's no way I could do this myself. So make sure to get into the Facebook chat and give some love to the team, right? You see Valerie, you see Angie, you see Antonio, you see Maddie, you see Kendra, you see all these people in our team, Keaton, Noah. Give some love to them because they're the ones that really make all this stuff happen. And the reality, guys, is wealth is really 95% mindset and only about 5% what you do. Now, this might be like a shocking number. It's like, what do you mean 95% mindset? I go to my job for 50 hours a week. That seems to be like the big part of the deal. Well, I can promise you it's not, and I can also prove it to you. Some of you may dabble in investing, right? So this is a picture of the New York Stock Exchange, right? And you could be a stock trader like some of these people here, and that's a 50-hour a week job, right? Or you could be a stock trader like Mr. Warren Buffett. Think about that one, right? And obviously he's trading companies, he owns companies, but it's the same vertical, different mindset. Does that make sense? So some of you might be in real estate, but probably a lot of you are. You're either part-time or at least you understand it. And you can be a realtor like hundreds of thousands of other people, or you could be in real estate like this clown. Now, love him or hate him, Grant Cardone is wildly successful in real estate. His wife is wildly successful as a realtor, and he's wildly successful as a developer and a running real estate funds and capital and all kinds of things. You can't deny his results. And the difference, again, is mindset. Same vertical, different mindset. Makes sense? Some of you might be into e-commerce. You might have a Shopify store, an Amazon store, something at home. You might be into things like that. And then you could be like this guy, right? And the difference is mindset. Think about that. Mindset. No better example that personally that I can think of, somebody who's really using their mindset to bend reality. I mean, think about what this guy does. So it's always going to come down to mindset, guys. So I want you to think about that. Now I want you to really, really think about something. Does that make sense? Put a yes in the chat if that makes sense. Does what I just said make sense about how mindset is really the biggest differentiator between being a normal realtor and like the top fraction of 1%? Because if it makes sense, the second thing is, do you agree with it? Because if you don't agree with that, you're probably going to have a hard time building or changing your mindset, right? So does this make sense and do you agree? I've looked at this from every possible way that somebody can, from theology, from science, from metaphysics, from my own trial and error or trial and application. And I know for a fact that improving your mindset changes everything. So it looks like there's a lot of yeses in the group here. And if that's the case, we got to say, what is mindset? Right? The entire world agrees on this, by the way. It's kind of a trick question. We got to say, well, what is mindset? And how do you change something if we don't know what it is? I want you to think about that. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper. What do you think mindset is? Well, I'm going to give you what our educated opinion is on what mindset is in a minute here. But the fact of the matter is about 96% of the world's wealth is being earned by 1% of the people. I don't make these numbers up. Think about that. 96% of the world's wealth is earned by 1% of the population, or less actually. And then why is that? People can work their entire lives, 40 or 50 years and retire, and then they end up still broke, unfortunately, right? 93% of people in the United States get to retirement age and have to work second jobs. And, there's nothing wrong, like I said, with working at Walmart or Home Depot or something. If you're retired, if you're doing it to get out of the house, for some extra play money, for fun, but not because you're relying on the income, right? So no judgment. A lot of people do have those jobs just to kind of socialize and get out. And the reason why is we're simply never taught how to build wealth in schools. Think about this. When you were in school, kindergarten, grade school, high school, when did you have a class on real estate or Forex trading or e-commerce or balancing a checkbook, right? Or decision-making? What a self-image is. How would you ever build a big human without a big self-image, a healthy loving of yourself, right? No courses in wealth building. And unfortunately, there's no courses teaching what a paradigm is. So the focus of what we're going to talk about here for the first part, understanding mindset, is called paradigms. And paradigm is really just a fancy word to describe all of the mental programs stored in your subconscious mind, controlling all of your results. I'm going to say that slower. I'm going to say that again. And maybe you want to write this down and take a screenshot of this. You have a subconscious mind, and you have mental programs given to you by other people over time that cause your results and your belief system. I always use the example, if you had grown up with Warren Buffett as your dad for the last 30, 40, 50 years, you would be a billionaire and you wouldn't think anything about it. And I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy or some of the other things, but at least financially, you would have the mental program called I am a billionaire. That makes sense? So it's important to understand what a paradigm is. So mindset equals paradigm, and paradigm equals mental programs stored in your subconscious causing all your results. All right. It's kind of like the operating system in this computer. When you get a brand new computer, the operating system is blank until you load Windows, or if it's a Mac, you load the Mac OS on, right? And then you have a system of programs. Human beings are identical to this. When we're born a blank slate. You can't speak, you can't walk, you can barely eat, and you certainly can't, build $1 million company, right? So where do you guys think all these programs come from? Really think about this. When you're born, who does all the programming? Well, it's our parents, right? Our parents do all the programming, then we get handed off into school systems, kindergarten, grade school, high school, college, and we never really usually come into contact with anybody that knows what the hell they're doing. That's the unfortunate part. And that's why we're here, and that's why we created the Matrix. You guys know my story. I went the first 41 years of my life not knowing any of this stuff, living pretty much the same as everybody else, ups and downs, wins and losses, married and divorced, make money, lose money, right? This is the same old thing. And again, I'm not complaining. I've had an amazing life. I have zero complaints. Just thank God that I bumped into somebody who knew what the hell they were doing and knew how to show me how to rewire my operating system. Simple as that. So mindset equals all of the mental programs stored in your subconscious mind, controlling all of your results. I'll give you a second to take a screenshot of this. And if I'm not mistaken, if you're in the VIP, I think we're going to get you guys the slides. And I might have just opened my mouth and put my foot in it, but I'll make a PDF. I'll get the slides to my team. And if you're in the VIP, we'll get you that. All right, guys? Awesome. So think about this, right? When you're born, your parents teach you how to walk. They hold your hands, they mentor you, they mimic it, they encourage you, right? Everything is love, 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 walk, walk, walk. And eventually you learn to walk. Unfortunately, smoking is no different. If you grow up and your parents are smoking, you don't even know why. Next thing you know, you're smoking. Or if you're hanging out with kids in school and they're smoking, The next thing you know, you're doing this dumbass habit. I call these nails, by the way, right? Nails in your coffin. And no offense if you smoke, it's just a low sign of intelligence, right? It's like, I shouldn't say intelligence, awareness. I've done some dumb shit in my life that probably isn't too smart, but if you think about this, each one of these is killing you each time, right? So where does this stuff come from? And then wealth building is no different. It's just mental programs. So walking, smoking, speaking, wealth building are all mental programs. They're learned behaviors by other people over time. Does that make sense, guys? Put an 8 in the chat if what I'm saying so far makes sense, because if you understand this basic concept about mental programs, the reason why we call our company The Matrix is because we can download health programs and wealth programs and relationship programs right into your subconscious mind over time, and your body will produce those results over time with the new programs. All right, guys, so there's a science behind this, and it's very simple. I remember Bob teaching me this. If you want the life of the 1%, and this is not a judgment thing, by the way, this is just people that have happy, healthy, wealthy, prosperous lives. Less than 1% of the population checks off all those areas. So if we want to live like that, we need to think and then act and operate like the 1%. And again, I'm going to ask you guys, does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense? To me, that made crystal clear sense. He's like, you don't have to know how to do this. You should understand the principle. So now that you know what mindset is, right? Mindset equals paradigm. Paradigm equals all of the mental programs in your subconscious. That's what mindset is. You now know more than almost everybody in the world about what mindset is. I got to ask you, what is wealth? Right? Because in the Matrix, we are wealth and business mindset experts. That's what I study all day, every day for the past 10 years, right? Wealth and business mindset experts. So we've defined mindset. Now I want to define wealth. And again, this is our opinion based on study over time. This is what we came up with to define wealth. We call this the Wheel of Life. It's a very interactive thing we have on our website. You guys are going to get a link a little bit later on in the presentation here to actually do this yourself if you want. And you got to look at this, right? Because most people are calling finances wealth. And money's just money. That's not wealth at all. It's just a small piece of it. So business is another thing. It's like, well, I'm a realtor, right? My wealth comes from being a realtor. It's like, not really. That's just what you do for a living, right? Health is a massive part of being wealthy. You could have $100 million in the bank, and if you're crippled or broken down, or if your body is in dis-ease, it's just not going to matter. I always use the example of Steve Jobs, right? The guy changed the world in 7 different industries. Then he attracted cancer at age 53 and died by, I think, age 55 or 57. So how did that happen, right? I don't call him wealthy. He was successful in business and finance, but not in health, not in family and friends, not in his romantic life, not in personal growth, not in fun and recreation. He might have been tapped into spirit, and I don't think he was all that philanthropic. And I'm not sure, maybe his physical environment was probably pretty good, lived in a nice house, stuff like that. So he was missing like 7 or 8 out of 10 things to be wealthy. Now, in contrast, for those of you that know Richard Branson, think about him, right? This guy's got Necker Island. He's very spiritual, super philanthropic. He has all the Virgin records and airlines and cruises and travel, like his business. He does what he loves. He's worth about $8 billion the last time I checked. Super healthy. Guy's in his late 70s. He can out cycle and out tennis everybody on his team. He just went into space. Like, do you know the physical level of fitness that you need to go into space? Family and friends, romance, personal growth. He is the person I model myself after, right? When I look at, like, as I get older and older into my 60s and 70s and 80s, I am looking to mirror his results. Does that make sense, guys? And you guys should have that as well. Who in this world do you see has the life that's older than you that you want to emulate? And you can start to study them. All right, guys, so that's our opinion of what wealth is. And again, I'll ask you, does this make sense? Do you agree with this? Because If you're not agreeing with this, then, well, then the matrix probably just isn't for you. It's not that everybody's going to agree with us, but when we teach wealth, that's who we teach. And when we teach mindset, that's who we're teaching. Make sense, guys? So I want to get a little bit into how I know all of this. There's a history of wealth mindset, and none of this, very little of this is my actual content, maybe 10% of what I teach. In the late 1800s, the world's first recorded billionaire, Andrew Carnegie, had a set of principles that he passed on to a young Napoleon Hill. And a lot of you people know Napoleon Hill as the author of Think and Grow Rich, but he was actually a salesman. He trained over 30,000 salespeople in his day to break $1 million a year. This is back in the 60s and 50s and 60s when that was a lot of money, right? And he died in 1970. He actually died the year I was born. So it's kind of a interesting fun fact, right? He passed this information on to Earl Nightingale, who spent his entire adult career studying, teaching, coaching, training, the Nightingale Conant Corporation. He then in turn passed it on to Bob Proctor, who many of you know, and he was my mentor before he passed here last July. So this information, I worked with Bob for a good part of 10 years, a lot of one-on-one time. When he was alive, I was one of his top consultants in the world. And I've been studying ever since, not just with Bob. And I have also been, you're going to see tomorrow when I show you the revenue streams and tax strategy, the physical part of this presentation, you're going to see that I've actually applied this in my own life. So if you look at the 3-day event, we're going spirit yesterday, intellect today, and body tomorrow. And then Friday, you'll get to learn about the matrix and answer questions. So there's a very specific reason why we're doing the 3-day event. All right, guys. So I want you to think about this phrase here. Do you think it would help you to know how the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate? Just think about that. Do you think it would be beneficial to know how the world's wealthiest people thinks and acts and operates? And if the answer is yes, now we're going to get into it, because again, there's a science of wealth building, guys, how the 1% thinks. And it starts with a very simple diagram here. More than likely, this is how you are operating right now. And it's not your fault, it's your programming. Most of you, even if you're clients of ours, you're probably still doing this. I still do this from time to time. It still happens, and I've been studying for 10 years, still happened to Bob. We look at our results to cause our thinking, right? Something happens, something like COVID or 9/11 or a bankruptcy or foreclosure. We attract a dis-ease. We look at physical results to cause our thinking, and our thinking causes our feelings. Now, feelings is a word that we use to describe vibration. If you guys remember yesterday in the spiritual, right? Everything, all of our emotions in a vibratory state. We're in a vibrational state. So the word feeling means vibration. It actually means the conscious awareness of the vibration that you're in. I'm going to say that again. If you say you feel sad, what you're really saying is I'm consciously aware that I'm in a low vibration. And if you say you feel happy, what you're really saying is I'm consciously aware that I'm in a high vibration. Very important that you get that, because we're tying it into yesterday when we talked about the universal law of vibration. All right, guys. So this is how most people are doing this. They're looking at results. They're looking at their current body, their current bank account, their current job. They're looking at all the current things in their life to cause their thinking, which causes feelings, and it causes their day-to-day actions. So they leave the house all slumped over, get in their car, they get into a traffic jam, they attract the traffic jam, and they're starting to get borderline depressed going to a job that they hate. If this is you, this is not your fault. This is your programming from birth over time. What we can do is change that, though, and here's how we change it. We start with new thinking. We go to the spiritual. I don't mean the religious. I mean the spiritual conscious part of this. New thinking, new vibrations, right? Causes new feelings. New feelings cause the body to move differently. You're up instead of down. Your tonalities are up instead of down. You meet people, it feels good instead of bad. You attract new people, places, things, and circumstances into your world to get new results. Now, this is so simple, a 5-year-old would get it, right? It's a circle and some things. All you're really doing is shifting your thinking 90 degrees out of phase, right? You see results is over there and thinking is at the top. New thinking, new thinking, new thinking. So as soon as you get out of bed in the morning, what are you thinking? Most people aren't thinking. They just get some coffee, grab a piece of toast, fly out the door, blah, 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 right? They're not meditating. They're not studying. They're not reading their goal. All these things are things that we teach inside of the matrix. All right, guys. So that's how you're probably programmed right now. And we work on that over time together. Now, what we're looking to do here is really change the mind, right? If you think about changing a paradigm, we're looking to change the mind. So let me ask you guys a question, and I want you to type this in the chat. What does the mind look like? Type it in the chat. What does the mind look like? It's an interesting question, right? And if we can't answer that, then how are we going to change something that we don't have a reference point? If I want to change my car, I know exactly what my car looks like. I know what the new car looks like, right? If I want to change the color of this room, well, right now it's like an off-white. If I want to change it to blue, I have a reference point, right? So think about that. What does the mind look like? So Brian says a gray thing. Oh, Jeremy, you're cheating. 2 circles. Oh, Keaton, I know what you're saying, bro. I love it. Yeah, we got to get a framework what the mind looks like. So back in 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet drew this picture of what the mind-body connection looks like, right? I saw somebody answer the brain, right? The mind is not the brain. The brain is an electronic switching station. It's an organ that sends and receives signals for the most part. I'm simplifying, but it's an organ that sends and receives signals, right? It's electronic switching station. So your brain is actually not your mind. And this is the tricky part because we think our brain is our mind, it's just an organ. Your heart is a pump. Your brain is electronic switching station. Your nervous system sends current, right? Your mind is connected into infinite. It's consciousness, it's movement. And since we can't identify with what consciousness looks like, here is a picture for you guys to work with. All right. And you have 2 parts of the mind. Now, there's many parts of the mind if somebody here is a PhD, but loosely speaking, by and large, you have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and your body, right? Your body is a physical instrument driven by your subconscious mind mostly. Right now I'm speaking, but I'm just accessing programs. I'm not even thinking right now. I know this material. I am not thinking. I am just consciously accessing programs in my subconscious, and I'm flailing my hands around, right? So you guys see how this works? Conscious, subconscious, body. What we work with in the matrix is reprogramming your subconscious mind so that you get the body to do different things. Make sense? So I'm going to show you how most of you, or probably almost all of you, are programmed now. We're born in ignorance, right? We're born blank, and ignorance is not a bad term. It just means not knowing. That's all it means. It's not bad at all. It's the opposite of knowledge, right? So we're born in ignorance, and we're taught by other people to have negative thinking. What if I catch COVID? What if it doesn't work? I hate my job, just negative thinking. And it causes worry and doubt and negative thinking in the conscious mind, right? That's the first place where energy is coming into us. Do you guys remember yesterday when I said energy is flowing to and through us and how you color it matters? This is what I'm talking about. You have the conscious choice to think positive or negative about everything. We just don't know that. We're programmed differently. Well, this energy flows to and through you into the subconscious as the emotion of fear, right? Energy and motion. And again, we're building off of yesterday. So if you're here and you're in the VIP and you didn't see yesterday, you're going to get the recording. You want to watch yesterday because we're building off of that. But this is what happens. Fear has to continue to and through the body and express as the physical form of anxiety. So if anybody here has ever had anxiety, this is why. Now, almost all of my clients that have worked with us for 3 to 6 months, they all report that they don't have anxiety anymore or very little. And some people really had panic attacks. They literally are calm, cool, and collected because they understand this. And anxiety produces procrastination because let's say you wanted to I don't know, join a company and speak on stage, right? Which is a superpower. You're going to get this feeling, which doesn't feel good. So it's easier to procrastinate and not do it than it is to push forward. But eventually what happens with procrastination is it leads to depression because you're not created, right? We're born creators. We're born in the image of God. We're supposed to be creating. And if you're not doing that, it's going to be depressing and eventually lead to dis-ease. All right. So this is how most people are programmed. This probably, again, is how most of you are programmed. And again, it's not your fault. It's programming. It's how I was programmed. Same thing, right? So now we go to the other side, knowledge, the opposite of ignorance, the polar opposite. And again, if you remember yesterday, there is a universal law of opposites, right? It's called polarity, the universal law of opposites. So ignorance is the opposite of knowledge. Worrying is the opposite of understanding. Positive thinking is negative thinking. You guys see how this works? And it's the same thing. When we have knowledge, we build the frequency of faith in the subconscious. It's a polar opposite of fear. Leads to well-being and calmness, leads to a body in acceleration, taking action, and at ease. So again, you probably want to take a screenshot of this. I'm sure, again, if you're in VIP, you're going to get this in maybe a PDF or something. This is the crux of what we teach. When I saw Bob present this for the first time, I literally looked like up on stage. I said, that is the keys to the kingdom. So you mean if I reprogram my subconscious, my body will get new results? Going on the right side of this page here. And that's absolutely the way it is. And guys, it's so easy, most people would miss it. When we teach how to change a paradigm, it's so easy, most people would miss it. All right, so again, remember yesterday, a lot of you are still doing this. You're driving around, pissed off, angry, sad, worried, fear, doubt, and the energy you're putting out is chaotic and low frequency. So you're going to get a lot of chaotic, low frequency results. You're going to attract bad situations, people into your life that you're not, that are not fun. And what I want to do is get you on the frequency of faith. And again, love or hate these people, they've created on a big scale, right? They're people we all know because they're creating on a massive scale. So I always say, harvest the good and forgive the rest. I don't care if you like these people. I'm just trying to present an example. And there's certain things that each one of them have done that I appreciate. So I definitely harvest the good and forgive the rest. All right, guys. So again, wealth is 95% mindset, 5% of what you do. Does that make sense now? Go ahead and put a fire in the chat if that now makes sense. All right, wealth is 95% mindset and 5% what you do. And I want to give you an exercise for tonight too. Now, my team is going to put a link in the chat, but only if you comment wealth. All right. So the only ones that are going to receive this are the ones that comment wealth. And if you're catching this on a replay or something, you can DM wealth. My team will get you this. We want to get you guys to fill out your own wheel of life and then print it out. I have several versions. I have one right here. Right, my laminated wheel of life all filled out. And I also have the one from the website, which looks like this right here. So if you comment wealth, my team's going to reach out to you. They'll give you the link to fill this out. And you can see here, this is my actual wheel of life, by the way. So if you look at my physical environment, I'm a 9 out of 10. Like I moved to Florida. We got a place in Miami, a place up in Delray on a beach town. So we got beach and we got city. I'm literally living exactly where I want. But I'm 52 years old, and up to age 50, I wasn't. So you can always learn, right? You can always change that. So a couple of years ago, this would have been like a 5 or a 4. My business and career, again, 10 years later, I only have businesses that I have created and that I love and that I want. I don't do anything that I don't want to do anymore for the most part. Now, sometimes my businesses can throw up challenges that might not be fun, but I literally am either sole owner or half owner of every single company and revenue stream that I have. All right. Now you can see finances is a big dip here. Well, that's only relatively speaking. And if you remember yesterday, the law of relativity, right? There is no such thing as big or small. There's just relative. So since my goal is a multi-billion-dollar goal, I'm nowhere near there yet, right? So by age 60, this is over the next years, this will be pulling out, pulling out, pulling out, pulling out. My health, again, 7. I used to be a 9 before I had 40 revenue streams and growing. I'm now working on bringing this back up, like with diet, exercise, and I've been having fun for the past 4 years and traveling all over the world. So your diet can slip a little bit. I'm still in really good shape, relatively speaking, but for me, I need to work on that. And the same thing with family and friends. Matt, I can pull this up though because I've instituted a new policy to stay connected with people. In the romantic life too, I've let that slip a little bit over the years. And that's one that it's like, you got to keep that one alive, right? You got to do things, remember to do things. And it's just for me to realize where I want to work. This is not a negative thing. This is a reflection and it's an image, right? And since we think in pictures, I can look at this right away. Like I don't really have to focus on personal growth, fun and recreation. You don't have to help me there. Spirituality, same thing. I study this stuff all the time. So I just see that I have a couple of key areas that I need to work on, or I shouldn't say I need to work on. I want to work on. I want to balance this wheel. And philanthropy usually follows finance. So, we've been giving and donating for years, but I want to do it, a couple $1 million a month, right? That's what's going to happen as the timeline expresses. So if you want to join us and do this, again, comment wealth, my team will reach out to you. You can fill out your own thing. You can even store it, and you can edit it, I think, every quarter, whenever you want, take new pictures. It's meant to be a dynamic thing. All right, guys, that's the homework if you so choose. And I want you guys to imagine filling out that wheel of life. You now understand spirituality. You understand wealth. You understand mindset. What would your life look like? These are all pictures from my vision book, by the way. And now I think if anybody's watching my Instagram, you see that we now have a place in Miami on the 41st floor. It's all glass and it overlooks the city and then the bay and then the city again. It's the most insane view. And I've had this picture for 10 years, right? Being able to work anywhere in the world. I can literally, as long as they have Wi-Fi, I can operate all of my businesses anywhere in the world. Like imagine this. And the key to this too is you have to visualize new thinking, right? So these are all pictures from my vision book that's sitting right over there. And I've had these for a decade. Imagine being able to take your family on a yearly vacation. I've been doing that for probably 10 years now, taking, 10, 15 people, to Hawaii or Cancun. Or it's like the only thing that slowed us down for a minute was COVID, but I've been doing this stuff for a while. And I don't say this to impress you guys. I say it really just, if I can do it, you can do it. I had a pretty traditional life and career and all the things before I met Bob and before I studied thinking results and before I implemented this stuff. So I just want you to imagine, because, what we're teaching here in the Matrix is how people like Warren Buffett think and act and operate, right? And again, love him or hate him, there's certain things like marketing, tenacity, fearlessness. The guy is a juggernaut, right? You can't deny his results. And what we're teaching here is exactly how these people think and act and operate. And a lot of you know my amazing daughter, 26 years old. She's got her own company, and she's the COO of our company, The Matrix. And she gets to do what she wants with who she wants, when she wants. She's healthy, got the love of her life. She got businesses like health, wealth, love, happiness, income, right? So it doesn't matter what age you are. It just matters if you make a decision or not. And I love this quote here from Henry Ford, right? Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. Most people just say, I can't do this, right? They say, like, why me? It's like, well, why not you instead, right? From yesterday, right? So again, we went over spirituality and consciousness, which is the foundation, wealth and business mindset. This is today. You now know what wealth is, you know what business is, and you have tools. If you comment wealth, you're going to have that wheel of life. You're going to have a visual. We taught you what a paradigm is, how it got there, and you need to start implementing new programs into your subconscious mind. Now, tomorrow, guys, you do not want to miss tomorrow. Tomorrow is for all you, how do we do it, people? Like, how are we going to do it? This is great, but how do we do it? Tomorrow is literally, I'm going to show you how I went from 1 revenue stream to 40 by showing you all of my revenue streams and how one led to the next, which ones worked, which ones didn't. the whole thing. And then we're going to show you some tax strategies. And I'm going to have a disclaimer because, again, I am not a tax specialist. I am not a financial advisor. You got to do your own, get your own professionals. Everything we're doing here this week is for educational purposes only. But the fact of the matter, this is what we're all doing in the Elite 100. And I'm going to show you how the world's wealthiest people earn money, grow money, and then protect money over time to build legacy. All right, guys. And on day 4, we're going to experience the matrix. So make sure you show up for tomorrow. And again, if you have not registered for VIP, it's not too late, right? If you're watching this, you're not a VIP. The VIPs are going to get all the recordings. They're going to get some special things. And I believe on Friday, there's something special as well. I think you guys will probably be getting emails and things like that. So that is my time here for today, guys. I'm going to bring back my main man, Antonio, to wrap it up. Antonio, thank you so much. Hopefully you all got a healthy dose of education. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for that. Guys, I learned a lot. For myself being a part of the Matrix family, I am still a student. I am still learning. And that's kind of the point of life, is to continue to grow and to progress. And I took a couple notes here. And one of them was, what floored me when I first saw this was when I saw the lineage. Now, I don't care if you're in sports or if you're in business or religion or real estate, it doesn't really matter. When you look at someone's track record, that's going to say a lot. So when I was looking at Andrew Carnegie, and I had to write a paper about Andrew Carnegie back in high school, the dude was pretty badass. And then one of the top selling books in history, after the Bible, after Lord of the Rings, after Moby Dick, is Think and Grow Rich. And then he impacted one of the top radio guys of all time, Earl Nightingale, who mentored Bob Proctor, who personally mentored. Now, a lot of people say, like, I was mentored by Bob Proctor. No, you weren't. You didn't shake his hand. You weren't on the airplanes with him. You didn't cry on his shoulder. You didn't have those real heart-to-hearts. Brian Dalmazzo did. And so when I saw that, and then when I had my first experience with Brian, that's what really did it for me. And that's what really kind of allowed me to buy into this and give it a fair shake. And I asked myself the exact same question when I was actually going through a lot of this stuff too. Was the same question that Brian asked when he was in that crowd. And because I was actually in your spot too. And the question was like, you mean to tell me that I can reprogram my subconscious mind and get new results in my life? Like, I have the ability to change everything that I went through to create something new. And it's like, yeah, you do. Although that's, I never really heard of that before. Cool. What do I do? Where do I start? And so those few key things gave me a lot of hope. It gave me direction. So again, if you guys have any questions about what to do next, and what I highly recommend is, if you're not in VIP, get into VIP, get all the recordings. A lot more benefits will be throwing out in your direction. But book a call with our LDA, which is our Life Discovery Advisor. So just what we saw in that wheel of life is that sometimes it can look like a ninja star. Sometimes it can be pretty robust. Do you know how yours looks like? Like, when you really think about what your wealth looks like, or what your health looks like, your physical environment, your romance, actually do it. So I look at this as, like, if you're going to figure out what to do with your car to make sure that it runs smoothly, it takes you far, no mechanical issues, you kind of have to run a diagnostic, don't you? Well, let's do that with your life. So go into Facebook, book a call with a Life Discovery Advisor, an LDA, and go through that homework. And then have a conversation with them, figure out where you might land in our ascension model, and go from there. So again, you have some opportunity to upgrade into VIP. I love that you guys are using Facebook. Everything is going to be under the parameters of Facebook. Any questions, discussions, your homework, do that exercise, point in your results. Listen, my dad, when he came to America, he didn't speak any English. So oftentimes he didn't get involved and put himself out there because he couldn't speak the language. And I learned just not to put myself out there. But it wasn't for the same reasons. It was just a habit that I picked up. So if you guys are doing the homework and you're not sure, I don't know if I want to post, I don't know if I want to share it, stop it. do it. Show to others that that you're in the same fight too, that you want to develop, that you want to grow, that you want to take things to the next level. And it's going to indicate to the universe that you're ready. So I would love for you guys to do that. For the ones that are doing it already, keep doing, keep hammering it. And tomorrow I am very much excited to host again, but then also to have you guys see day 3, where we're going to be getting to some really, really specifics on how you can apply this stuff for business and for your life. So I'm excited. Amazing day 2, and I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Have a good one, guys. Good night.